Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So it's day 6 in my 7 days of Christmas series for 2018. Now for this project I wanted to create one of my handmade journals, but a slimline version, so that I could use it over the Christmas period, the coming Christmas period, to record Christmas 2018 in the new house. So I can add in things that happened, I can add photographs, bits and pieces of ephemera, memorabilia, that kind of thing. So that's exactly what I've done, and this is it. It's a slimmed down version of one of my handmade journals, but I have made it kind of Christmassy. So this video is showing you how I've put the basic structure together for the slimmed down version of my Christmas journal. So to begin with, we need 3 pieces of board. Now I have some grey board. It's like grunge board, only slightly thicker. This is 1000 micron thick. It's really quite sturdy and substantial, and this is what I like to use as the covers for the journals that I make. Now normally the spine pieces I like to do twice as thick as this. I know I like to do them 2 inches, but this is a slimline Christmas journal, so I'm only going to do it 1 inch thick because I'm only going to have one signature stitched in the inside of this. So what we need to do to start off with is just create the basic structure of the actual cover. So I'm just going to use masking tape. Actually, it's a better roll than that. So first of all, I'm just going to grab some masking tape and then lay it so it's pretty much just under halfway onto the tape. Turn it over, then I can take my spine, and I want to leave about a double width gap of the thickness of the spine. So I could kind of like line it up with 2 pieces of scrap card and then position it and then move it out, but I can do this by eye pretty much. I've done enough of these now to think I can actually get this pretty much accurate enough that I can do it without having to measure all that well. Okay, and then I'm going to put another piece of masking tape over the top of that side, like so, and I'm going to repeat the process for the other side of the spine too. So again, grab the masking tape. I've seen lots of people use different things. I've seen people use fabric, I've seen people use duct tape. It's whatever you're comfortable using. I'd say that was pretty spot on. Flip that over, another piece of masking tape. Whoop. And then cover that up, and then we just flip it over. Just like that. That's pretty much how I create the spines of my journals. Now, to make sure that I get the creases right, what I like to do now is when I fold it over, I just rub a bone folder up and down just to make sure that that's stuck. And then when I do this one, same way. And then we have our spine and our book, or the covers, pretty much done. Now what I normally like to do is just grab a pencil and I'll just have a quick look around it. Now you can, if you want to, run your bone folder up and down both sides just to make sure it's all stuck. But normally what I like to do is I like to stand it up, and if it pretty much does the job that it's supposed to do on its own, like that, then you know you're onto a winner. So what I like to do now is just put some arrows. So I've decided that that's going to be the top of the journal, and I can put that to one side now. So what I need to do next is I need to cover the journal. So I have some Christmas green book cloth. So this is proper bookbinding cloth, and as you can see it's wider than the actual cover itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, just lining it up with my craft mat. I'm going to grab a scalpel and just drop the rest of it onto my knee, just so I can kind of gauge where I need it to go. I have a little bit of a set square here, and I'm just going to bring that up to the edge. That should pretty much do it. It does help if you've got a scalpel that's sharp. Almost. It doesn't matter if it gets a little bit raggy, all this is going to get hidden anyway. So there we go. So I can now put the rest of that book cloth away for future projects. I have a nice little collection of colours of these book cloths now, ranging from the sublime to the ridiculous. So it's a little bit raggy at that end, but that's fine. Now I want to just cut off that salvage. So I'm just going to put the set square back onto it again, and then just run my scalpel. I could actually do this just with a pair of scissors, but once I've done this on the first piece, I don't need to do it again on the roll, because this is just the first piece off the roll. There we go. Just run my scalpel, follow the line. That'll do. That bit's rubbish. If I want to, I can just trim that off as well, just to make it a little bit neater. It's not really necessary, but there we go. That looks better. Okay, so it is actually wider than I need, so I'm just going to make sure I've got pretty much equal gap all the way around. That's pretty much it there. And I can just remove that excess. Like that. I'd say that was pretty much exactly spot on. And now of course I'm going to need to stick this to the front of the journal. Now most people use PVA. I have something which is a lot quicker to use than that. I've got some very wide double-sided sticky tape, and I've just realised it's downstairs. So I will go and grab it, and then I will be right back in a mo. Okay, so you think you've got wide double-sided tape. Not as wide as me. So this roll is just under 10 inches wide, and that's how thick it is. There's, I think, about 100 meters of this stuff. This is double-sided, and it's extremely sticky. This is purchased from a sign maker's store, and this is what they use to stick letters and things onto shop fronts. It's huge, and you literally, we go in, because Ian also uses this as well in some of his projects, and literally we just tell them how wide we want it. It's on a massive roll, and they just cut it to the size that you want. So I'm going to just line it up like so, get my fingers off it. Now it's cut, as you can see, it just goes off the edge there. That's fine, because this is wider than what it needs to be. So all I have to do now is to just trim that down like that. We're done with you for the minute. It's quite heavy, so I'll trim that off. Right, just a few little minor adjustments. Okay, anyway, you get the general gist of what I'm doing. I'm just literally just cutting the excess book cloth to fit. There we go. And of course you've got to be careful where you get the bits, because like I said, they're extremely sticky. Okay, so I've got the book cloth, I've got my double-sided adhesive. Of course, thinking about it, if you've got some double-sided adhesive sheets, like letter size 8.5 by 11 or A4 sheets, couple would probably do the same thing. And this stuff is strong enough, like I said, to stick the book cloth down and also fabric. When I did my sunflower journals, the ones where I used the old fabric from the chair where Bentley used to sit, you stick this down with this and it ain't going nowhere. Trust me. Okay, as you can see, we've still got plenty of that adhesive all the way around, so not a problem at all. So all I need to do now is just peel the adhesive off, or the backing off the fabric, which normally comes off really easy, but I'll just wet my finger because it's easy to handle if you have wet fingers. There we go. Like I said, it's extremely sticky stuff. Now on this next job, I normally do stood up, so I can position it pretty much right in the centre of the journal or the covers, drop it down and give it a push. Okay, that's pretty much stuck down. I can go through just on those joins there, just make sure that the adhesive is stuck. Now of course we need to mitre the corners. Now the actual mitre joins on these are going to be covered anyway, so I don't need to get them bang on. Now, some people obsess about getting the mitre corners just perfect. Because I'm covering the inside of the book as well as the outside, and I don't need to get them bang on. So that's number 2. And then you notice I'm actually leaving a little bit of a gap. I'm not taking it right up to the corner. I'll show you why when I finish wrapping the cover. Okay, so that's the 4 mitre corners. And I normally like to start on this side, so I'm going to just lift it up . Just very carefully pull it up and over. Okay, so those little bits of extra cloth, you're just going to push in with the bone folder. Just from the outside, I'll just roll it in. And I do both sides at once, and that's going to help when you come to stick the other side on. So we'll take this side and then up and over. Now can you see? Now we've took that little corner in, it's pretty much hidden. I will go over this with a bone folder in a second, just to make sure it is truly stuck down. And then let's grab that corner bit again. So roll and push. And then this side. I normally do it on the table edge. Because I'm showing you, I have to make sure I've got it in frame. So, like I said, the tape is extremely strong. And then the final corner, roll. That one's already done. So lift and push it over. And you can see all those mitre corners are all pretty tidy, even though they weren't necessarily the most exact. There you go, see that one is wider there, but that doesn't matter. Okay, and then I'm just going to run around the inside with the bone folder just to make sure that I've got it all stuck. And trust me, that ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere. And then I'm just going to push in with the bone folder into those creases, and then we can fold it up, and there we have our book cloth cover. Nice Christmas green, love it. And of course you can manoeuvre and just push to make sure it's all stuck down exactly where you want it. Look at that. One green covered journal. So for the inside, I've printed off on my computer 2 sheets of plaid or tartan. Now I've got my computer, I've got a template set up on my computer, so I know exactly what size to create these sheets. As you can see, they're going to fit and hide those corners perfectly. So, next job. Can't stick these in just yet. We need to get to creating the signatures. Now, let me just show you the signatures. So these are the signatures that I'm going to be using. Now, there's only going to be 32 sheets in this journal. So they're being printed off on my computer. I've not tea dyed them. This is actually parchment paper, so it's kind of yellowish anyway. So I've printed off just 8 sheets, and obviously that's going to give me 32 pages. So 8 sheets, double-sided, 32. So 4 per sheet when it's done. So 32 sheets. And I need to attach this to the base of my journal. Now some people stitch through, which is what I thought I was going to do. But I decided against that. I've got some book cloth somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the Buckram cloth. So it's paper backed, cloth on one side, paper on the other, and this is what I use to stitch my signatures into, and then I stick those into the journal. Now, there is always an overlap, which always gets covered by the paper. Now this is obviously bigger than the paper, so I need to trim this so that it's the exact size. So I just need to line that up. I'll do it at both sides just to make sure. There we go. I have lots of pieces of these cut already because it's easy just to have them done and ready, and then you can just trim to size whenever you need. So that should be the same size now as that. which it is. So when that's stuck into the journal, that will cover the cloth. Just like that. Nice, neat and tidy. We like neat and tidy. Let's make sure we're going to get it the right way. And centered and evened up, obviously. There we go. So that's what it's going to look like. Now, as I was saying, the signatures. So, because it takes a while to do all this kind of thing, I didn't want to have to show you the entire process from start to finish, because it would have been a couple of hours long. So literally, I created the signatures on my computer, I printed them out, and I've got some footage that I'll probably just overlay on top of this bit of narrative that you're listening to now. So I printed all of the sheets of the signatures out and then flipped them over and then printed the other side, so they're all double-sided. Once I'd done that, I took them downstairs and I'll insert the footage of what I recorded when I put them in the oven. So now that all of my parchment sheets are printed, I now need to age them a little bit. I'm not going to add any tea dye colour because they're already coloured and they're already textured. So all I want to do is to add water to get them to wrinkle up a little bit. So I've got on my worktop a glass cutting mat, and I'm just going to spritz the cutting mat with a little bit of water. I'm going to lay one each of the sheets down. So the water on the glass cutting mat is going to hold those sheets in place while I now spritz over the top with the other water. Really quick and easy. So I'm just going to let that water sit and soak into the paper for a few minutes. I've got my 2 baking trays out, and I've already set the oven to go at 160 degrees, which is around about 2.5, gas mark 2.5. In Fahrenheit, that's around about 312. So 160 degrees centigrade, about 312 Fahrenheit, or gas mark 2.5-ish. And they want to go in to the oven when it's up to temperature, and they only need to stay in about 3 minutes each. That will be enough, more than sufficient, for the paper to dry and wrinkle and get that aged look. Okay, so I've taken all of the papers out of the oven now, so that's all done. That can be turned off. So they're all nice and dry, all a bit wrinkly, and now I'm ready for construction. Okay, so I've brought my sheets up from the kitchen. The next thing I need to do is I need to pierce some stitching holes through the sheet. So this is how I'm going to do it. Now, I've already pre-done a template that I use for all of my journals. And what I need to do is just to create a template that I can use for the pricking of the signatures. So I've got a pricking mat. And I've got this sheet of A4 card that I've got a little mark all the way down the middle, and I'm just going to use that just to line up top and bottom, just to make sure that I've got my centre in the right place. That's pretty much it. And then I have a pokey tool, and then all I have to do is just literally just go through the centre holes. When I was saying before about my spines are normally 2 inches, that's 2 inches across, so this is equally spaced out. And I use this a lot. A lot. There you go. You can see that those holes are now pretty much in the middle. So I can now bring in all my signatures. I can line that up in the middle as best as I can. Bring those 2 big clips back in just to hold them in place, and this gives me just a little bit of room to be able to make sure that I have got them in the right place and I'm happy with it before then using the template, fold it over and then push through. So I've already got the holes in the template in the centre, fold over, push through, fold over, push through. I should now have holes in the spines of all of my signatures. Easy as that. I can now get rid of those clips and now I'm ready to put the holes in the book cloth. So there's the hole there, and then in the middle and at the bottom. If I'd done the cloth the right size to start off with, that would have just gone straight through. I could have just lined the top and bottom up, but I made a little bit of a mistake, but we all make mistakes and it'll still work, trust me. Okay, so I've now got my stitching holes in the book cloth that I can marry up with my signatures, so I can put those to one side. And then all I have to do is to start to stitch in. So I need my thread, so double length and a little bit more. Grab my scissors. Put that string away. And now I need, where's my tin? I've got some beeswax and a needle, and there's a creeping Ian coming up the stairs. Hello.
Merry Christmas. Whoa.
Beeswax, so I'm just going to add a bit of the beeswax onto the thread. Just run the thread right the way down with the beeswax. You can get pre-waxed linen thread, but for me it's not thick enough. I like mine to be a little bit more substantial. Just put a bit more wax on the end there. These are bookbinding needles. I bought a pack of 10 from the eBay. Okay, so theoretically, the holes should still be in the same place. They haven't moved, that's good. Grab the cloth and push your needle through the first hole. Grab your signatures and then just literally push the needle through the hole, right the way through to the centre. Pull your needle through. There we go. Making sure you don't lose the end. Then what I do is make sure I keep hold of the end here and then pull it and then pass the needle back through the hole and then through the hole at the top or the bottom, depending which way you've done it, because you can do it either way. There we go. I've just pulled the needle off. I'm a bit clumsy today, a bit all fingers and thumbs. I don't normally record this kind of process, so this is a bit of a first for me. Okay, so from that hole we're going right the way back down to the bottom. So this is just a basic 3-hole pamphlet stitch. The papers have moved a tad, but that's okay because we can just shuffle them till the needle goes right the way through. There we go. Back through this side. Come on. Oh. to make sure we've got a hold of everything, and then we go back through the middle, and that should come out the right side. Push it, grab it, pull it through, and then pull your threads, but pull them that way rather than that way, because if you pull them that way you'll end up ripping your sheet. If you pull them that way it works in the right direction. And then once you've got them taut, you can just drop a knot in. Now I just like to drop a couple of knots in just to make sure. Don't forget these are waxed so they will grip and hold, and then just trim off the excess like so. There we go. So there's our signature all done, ready for us to add our adhesive on to the back. So let me just tidy these accoutrements away, the needles and all the wax, and then I will be right back ready for the next stage. Okay, so signatures are now stuck up, so stitched in. You can't see the stitching now because I've actually added some of that tape to the back of the book cloth. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a rub just to make sure it's all stuck down, and then I can just peel off the corner, and then we're ready to stick the signatures into the journal. There we go. Now you can see the stitches again. So what I've done is I've just marked the centre line, and then I just need to make sure that I now get it equal top and bottom. So before I stick it down, I just need to make sure that I've got it so that it's equidistant at the top as well as the bottom. Right, I'm going for it. Just make sure we've got it the right way up, because that would be a laugh, wouldn't it? Oh. Okay, just use the bone folder again. So that's going to sit about there. Make sure we get it right. Yep, that looks about right to me. That's cool. Okay, so I just now need to commit those creases and do the same thing at this side. Cool. Obviously didn't need to be as thick as this, but I think once you've actually got your papers in there, they need room to manoeuvre. So now we just need to add in the covers. So again, I'm going to be using that double-sided tape. I'm going to stick both of the covers in with that. So I will get the adhesive put onto the back of those, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got my two plaid inside covers, and they're now covered with the double-sided sheet. So we'll do one at a time. Bring the book in, and then peel off the back in. And again, I've got to make sure that I get this as centered up as I possibly can. Before dropping it down, just like that. And then the next one. And then again, making sure we get it as equal as we can. be a slight variation, but that's fine. It is handmade after all, not machine made. And there are our two inside covers. Now, of course, I like to add pockets on mine. So what I've done is I've already pre-printed a couple of two halves so that they match up with the pattern. As you can see, once they're in or stuck down, the pockets will pretty much disappear. So what I've done is I've pre-taped them because I like to have a lip so that it folds over, and then I'm going to punch a little thumb hole so that you can put things in. So fold over like so, and I'll grab my circle punch. I need to just measure the halfway mark. So I'll call it 14, so just over 7, so about there. About there will do. It doesn't matter if it's slightly off. There we go. So there's our thumb hole, and then my double-sided construction tape, which was the red liner that you saw. So I'll grab that right up to the edge. Do the same thing again. And then put some along the inside. Just rub it so that it grabs. Okay, then we can peel the back off. Comes off really easy. Most times. It's the odd occasion when it doesn't. There we go. Come on. There we are. I had you then, little monkey. Okay, so all you have to do is just line up the bottom and pretty much just let it drop itself into place. And then you have an invisible pocket that you can drop or slide things in and out of. See if I can demonstrate. We've got a piece of card. There we go. One invisible pocket. So I shall do the other one now. So I'll do the second one and then I'll be right back. Okay, so there's the journal. We have the pockets in, we've got the pages, ready to start writing and using, adding memories, sticking photos. We've got the pockets at the end. The only thing I like to do now, or one of the things that I do like to do with these journals, is add some metal corners to them. Now I've got copper ones because that's the nearest to red that I can find. So I'm just going to show you how I add these metal corners on. It's really quite easy. So these are Tim Holt's findings corners. So all I'm using is glossy accents, a little bottle of glossy accents. So I'm just going to add a little bit just on the inside, just so it grabs, and then a tiny bit just on each tab. And then I'm going to turn it round, drop it down, lift up the corner, and then just drop it in. And then using a bone folder, I'm just going to push the corner tab over and then just push down to make sure that it grabs, and then flip it over and then just wipe away any excess glossy accents. And you can see the corner's now on, it's attached, and it just needs securing just by pushing down a little bit and then just wipe off any excess glossy accents. And then I'm going to repeat that on all 4 corners. Well, the remaining 3 anyway. Okay, so the corners are all now stuck on quite nicely. See that little bit of shine, so they're going to protect the edges. Now normally I like to put a label plate on the spine, but all my label plates are too wide to fit on a 1-inch spine, because I purchased them to fit on a 2-inch spine, so I can't really put one on, but that's fine. I've got plenty of scope for decorating the front cover later on if I want to add a frame to it and maybe a little collage image, or even add a closure, a ribbon closure for it. But for the time being, I'm just going to use a piece of elastic. Now I have some shearing elastic that I've just put quickly. I've just tied a little old key onto it for now, because I think this video has gone on quite long enough. I may use this again maybe in the new year and just decorate it up, but I think just for the basic structure of how to put or how to create your own journal, I think that pretty much covers all of the basics. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give it a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. I've only got 1 more day left on my 7 days of Christmas, so I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.